And we are delighted to be joined as we welcome you back to Indianapolis by Bryant McFadden, former Steelers, CBS Network as well. Bryant, thanks very much. How's your experience been thus far at the Combine?
Man, it's been great. You know, quick disclosure about disclaimer about me and the Combine. This is my first time being here since I was a prospect. Because usually I'm kind of working from home with CBS during this week. And, you know, being back here around this atmosphere, you kind of bring back, you know, some nice memories.
What was it like for you? What is the Combine experience like for a player?
It's a lot. It's a lot to process. First and foremost, you're overly thankful to be here because, of course, you know, invite only. But there's a lot you have to intake, you know what I mean, in terms of the meetings and the interview process, the questions that you're being asked, making sure you give your best every opportunity you have in terms of, you know, talking to whoever it is you're talking to. And then, of course, performing the athletic side of things with the drills and things that you have been preparing for months for this moment. But it's a I don't want to say it's a fatiguing process, but it is a long process, as it is for us in the media. Think about how you feel now compared to when you first got here Monday.
Yep.
Right. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You're a little tired.
Yes.
You know,
yeah.
and we're not going through the same thing these prospects are going through. So it is a lot, but it's all worth it. All worth it.
2005 was your rookie year, correct?
Yes, sir.
So Super Bowl 40 was your rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
What was that grind like? Because you mentioned the entire, you know, you finished your career at Florida State, probably played in a bowl game or something, I would imagine, and then did you play in a Senior Bowl?
Yes, sir.
Yep. Then the Combine, Pro Days. You get drafted, you're in a new city, rookie minicamp, training camp. It never stops, and you go all the way and you win a Super Bowl. Did you hit that proverbial wall at any point that season?
Man, I did. And to your point, I had a long season, played in the bowl game for Florida State, with Florida State, and then instantly I got a few days off, and I started to get in my pre-draft process, you know, trying to get my body as healthy as possible to be able to go to Mobile to be able to perform. And then you do Mobile, which is kind of a small mini combine because of the meetings and the interview process that you embark in on, along with practicing and getting ready for the game. And you did that, and then you got to go right back to maybe relaxing for a few days because your body is a little banged up from Mobile to get right back into the pre-draft training, and then the draft. And then once the draft hits, you off and running. OTAs, mini camps, and then from there it happens overnight where you're in training camp. So, yeah, it was a long season for me, but I enjoyed every minute of it. And I can tell you this much, when I got drafted to Pittsburgh in that process for us to do what we were able to do, get to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl, I literally thought that was the thing every year. I'm like, okay, this is what we do every year because I had no idea.
That's what you did at Florida State.
Yeah. And also, too, because it happened my rookie year,
Right.
I didn't know how hard it was
Right.
for you to get into the playoffs. I didn't know how hard it was for you to be good enough to play in a Super Bowl. That was my only experience, and that's all I knew. So next year, the following year in 2006, I'm like, well, we'll do it again, do it all over again. So I started having conversations with other guys that play for other teams, older guys, and they were telling me, man, you need to be thankful because you have guys that play 15, 16-plus years or whatever the case may be, never sniff a Super Bowl, but you were able to do so in your rookie year. So that's the reality of it.
So I'd like to ask you about this process for you and then winding up being drafted by the Steelers because, you know, people don't – I don't – a lot of fans don't stop to realize that these players, as a player here, it's not like people are showing up and being like, who's this Bryant McFadden guy? No, they've been scouting you since your freshman year, right?
Yes, sir.
They've had information on you. Now Max tells the story that Bill Cowher came to his weigh-in on his pro day. That was the only time he saw him. He looked up, Bill Cowher was gone, and he was shocked when he got drafted by the Steelers. What was your interaction like with the Steelers, and did you know you were on their radar? Were you running into the same scouts, that kind of thing?
My interaction with the Steelers, I didn't have any interaction that I recall during the Senior Bowl, right? But I was hearing my name was being brought up in the building from my former Florida State teammate and Chris Hope, who was a part of the Steelers at the time.
Right.
And I guess they were asking him questions about me because they knew we played together. But then when I came to Indy, I had a formal interview with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I remember like it was yesterday. I walk into the hotel room, And the first person I saw and I recognized was Mean Joe Green. I'm like, oh, freak, that's Joe Green.
Wow.
And I'm like, why is he in here?
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And I didn't know his status with the team at the time. And then, of course, Bill Cowher, Kevin Colbert. And it was so many people in the room. Like, it was like, wow. And then after that, it was like, mute, nothing from Pittsburgh. I didn't have a phone call. I didn't have a visit to Pittsburgh. I didn't have nothing. So everything kind of went silent. So I kind of felt like I might not be on the radar. But oddly enough, the team that you rarely hear from is the team that usually drafts you. If you listen to so many guys, like you said with Max Starks, you saw Cowher at weigh-in and he left.
Right.
You don't even know if you actually watched Max perform.
That's right.
But guess what? Pittsburgh drafted him. So I don't know if that was like a Pittsburgh thing.
They don't want to tip their
they
hand
kind
or
of
whatever.
show you we're not really interested, but we are.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think we'd be remiss. We, of course, you were pretty fortunate, won 2 Super Bowls with the Steelers, one with Bill Cowher, one with Mike Tomlin. Just your thoughts, 19 years, end of an era for Coach T. I didn't think I'd ever see the day. I just thought Mike Tomlin would be the head coach of the Steelers for the rest of my life. Everything eventually comes to an end, right? Yeah. But 19 years, and I just feel like everybody who played for Mike Tomlin has such a level of respect for him, obviously as a football coach, but as a man and a human being.
Yeah, to your point, it felt like he would continue. It felt like for sure at least get a 20th season. I mean, it surprised everyone. When that news broke, it was like, wow, what? Mm-hmm. Are you serious? And that was the first thought for most of us. Like, what?
I had to check the accounts on Twitter like 7 times to make sure they weren't fake parody accounts.
Yes,
like, these are the real people reporting this,
Are you
right?
serious? And now, granted, the season didn't end like we all wanted it to end, but it was still a successful season. You won a division, playoff game, whatever the case may be. But, yes, it's a surreal moment. And I asked Omar, this was the first question I asked him when I talked with him on Tuesday, how weird is it for you to be here without Mike Tomlin? You know what I mean? He's like, yeah, it's different. 19 years of doing the same thing, building that rapport and coming to these type of events with him, being involved to some degree. You know what I mean? So it's different. It's going to take some time to get used to it. I think every day you're kind of getting closer to understanding this is the new norm. But to your point, yeah, it's like, okay, not yet. He's not walking away yet, but he had to do what was best for him. And he checked off the boxes. Won a championship, lived up to the billing for a storied franchise, and created a Hall of Fame coaching career for him in Pittsburgh.
There are trends that happen in the NFL. Everybody wants the big box safety now that can move around. Kyle Hamilton, even Warriors, all that stuff. But one of the things that Mike Tomlin said a couple of years ago, and I thought it was really interesting, is he said that more than at any time in the NFL, cornerbacks coming out of college are more ready. And his explanation for that was that kids are – and that was always a position. Draft the corner. Hey, we'll see you starting in a couple of years. It's going to be – it just takes – it's way too involved. But he said all these kids now doing 7-on-7 drills all summer long, and then you couple that with all the spread offenses and quarterbacks throwing the ball 50 times a game in college. So as a corner, you're getting 50 coverage reps a game. Do you think that's the case, that it's a little easier for corners to come out now and make more of an immediate impact?
I wouldn't say that it's easier, but I think they're more equipped to handle that type of workload because of the passing strategies that they face in college football. Up-tempo, you're seeing more passes than runs. So, you have to be able to cover, and through repetition you get more comfortable, you feel more better in your skill set. Now the cons to that is most cornerbacks coming to the National Football League, not consistent in tackling.
Exactly. I knew you were going there.
That's the con,
exactly.
You know what I mean? So the pro is they're ready for the volume of passes, the volume of reps they're seeing from these wide receivers, the intensity in which it happens for 4 quarters. But then the con is you don't really tackle a lot because a lot of these kids are not tackling a lot in practice. So now when you get to the National Football League and you might play against an offense that can adjust to whatever you do well or not well, now they make corners tackle. And what happens when you don't? You will lose ball games. When you look at offenses now, offenses like San Francisco, the Rams with Sean McVay, when that wide receiver come down to crack that end man or either that safety, and now they force the corner to be in space to make that tackle one-on-one with whoever the running back is, If you can't do it, you're going to see the same thing over and over and over and over.
Yep.
Or if you know an offense say, you know what, this guy is not even a willing participant in the run game. He just doesn't really want to tackle. So guess what we're going to do? A quick stop route, get out to our wide receiver. Wide receiver, he really don't want to tackle you. Give him a move, get some yak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So those are the good and the bad with this new regimen in college football, the 707 landscape. It is good, because of the repetition in terms of passes, but you kind of forget about the main element, tackling.
I wanted to follow up on that because Tunch Ilkin used to talk about late in games for Jerome Bettis, where he said the guy's taking a convenient angle to miss. I'm sorry, coach. I just they didn't want to hit him after a while. As you look around the NFL now, and obviously you were a willing tackler, but it's tough if you're giving up pounds. If you're giving up 35 pounds and you got to make 15 tackles, after a while that wears on you. Are there guys out there, whether it's Kenneth Walker or Derrick Henry or somebody else, or maybe he was a quicker guy, a guy you wouldn't necessarily relish having to tackle 15 times a game?
Well, hopefully as a corner you shouldn't be making 15 tackles.
Right, no. That's you got problems.
The D lineman and the linebacker should definitely feel some type of way if that's the case. But for me, I go back to when I played Fred Taylor. That was a person that you like, oh, I don't want to be the first one running up on him, because he had power to run you over. He had moves to make you miss. He had the speed to run around you. And you didn't know exactly which one you were going to get based on his attitude. So for us, it was like, okay. But we knew what we had to do. And the thing about our defense when I was there, it was weird because when I got drafted to Pittsburgh, one of the first questions that was asked of me was, will he tackle? It wasn't about will he cover. That's what they wanted to know. Bro, will you tackle? Will you thud? Like, yeah. What about covering?
I play football, right?
Yeah, forget that. We know about covering, but for us here, it's about tackling. Because when you're a great tackling defense, you will win ball games. Prime example, Seattle. The praise we gave their defense, we talked about how violent they was, but they rarely missed tackles. Look at the secondary.
Yeah, for sure.
We talk about guys that played like they were mad.
Yep.
Like every day they just had something that pissed them off.
Yeah.
They flew around. When you watch Seattle play, it felt like they had 15 guys on the field instead of 11.
Yes, it did.
They swarmed. The DBs played like big guys. Devon Witherspoon, to your point, might be 188, but he will run into you. It doesn't matter how big you are. It's a mentality.
Houston was that way too.
Facts.
Yep.
Those guys, like Petrie and those guys, like violent.
You saw them in person in the wild card game.
Yeah.
Like, so that's the thing.
Really
when you
impressed.
tackle and you play with that type of violence, as fans, when your team play against them, you like, oh, shoot.
Right.
Like, you better protect yourself.
Yeah.
So think about what those offenses feel when they played against Houston, when they played against Seattle. Yeah, because think about what you thought of when we knew the playoff seeding, who we were playing. Houston. First thing you said was their defense.
Yeah, that's right. Can we win this game 3-2?
Yeah.
Right,
And
yeah.
Can we? Because we
Right.
knew their defense was going to be stout and they're going to hit you in the mouth. And that's how we played. We wanted to impose our will on you physically for 4 quarters. We wanted to beat you up, kick you, whatever. Like, you cannot play football soft, especially the defensive side. And I know I might be smaller than you, but it's my job to run into you anyway.
Right.
For 4 quarters. Because when I do that, I know the cavalry is coming.
Right.
And that's how you earn respect. Like,
Right.
yo, man, I got a little man just running in this big man. We know you're not supposed to win that battle, but just the willingness to do it, that sets the morale for the entire team. So for Seattle, storied year, but their defense is what embodied their physical, violent nature that we saw. And then it transitioned to the offensive side with Kenneth Walker running through people freaking chests.
He's a hard runner. That guy's a hard runner, man. He runs hard.
But tell me this, what hard running back runs against opposing defenses that's a part of a soft defense?
Right. That's right. And by the way, your
same
point
thing with Marshawn Lynch with the Legion of Boom.
Yeah. If you're a tough running back, 9 times out of 10 you got a tough defense.
Right. And by the way, I think I like the way you flip that too, because you always talk. A lot of us talk in terms of who do you not want to tackle. Well, who do you not want to run against? Because as a running back, you're feeling 15, 18 hits too. You might be out there doing a little more dancing than normal as opposed to lowering your head as well.
Think about it. You think about
That's
it.
right.
Think about the wide receivers when you watching tape and you see these guys trying to take your head off. Now you're going to be a bit hesitant when you run across the middle.
Absolutely right.
You know what I mean? So it plays in every area, man. And football is a violent sport. I understand the safety precautions and things like that. But football is a violent sport. That's why we love it, because we love seeing people collide into each other. But when you do it because you're forced to do it, you won't get the same impact when you do it because you want to do it.
Mm-hmm. Right. Good point.
This has been a lot of fun, but last thing, we got to ask you about Joey Porter Jr. I mean, he, particularly the back half of the season, really felt like it was all starting to come together for him. Man, I think he's primed to be one of the best cornerbacks in the National Football League.
It's time to get paid like one. Let's keep it real. I saw a stat that had Joey Porter Jr. and Christian Gonzalez next to each other, and Gonzo is a hell of a cornerback. Mm-hmm. All of us would agree.
Yes. Right.
Had
no
a
doubt.
Great season, great in the Super Bowl. Even though they lost, he played well.
He was one of the best players on the field.
You realize Joey Porter had better numbers than Gonzo in terms of coverage percentage, yards given up, the whole nine. But he doesn't get talked about like Gonzo for whatever reason. I don't know.
And he's got the penalties out of
lack
his game.
Lack of interceptions, I think.
He had more than Gonzo. And stat check me on this. I think he had more than Gonzo. I think he touched more passes, more footballs than Gonzo did in 2025. Because that's the first thing most people say, well, he didn't turn the ball over. He didn't touch enough footballs. Look, I'm waiting on that stat too, by the way, because I think he had more interceptions. He definitely had more PBUs if you were to combine both stats.
Yeah.
Well, we were having a discussion just breaking down the Steelers roster. Okay, Joey Porter's your one. Where are you happy with your roster? Joey Porter's my top corner. I'm happy with that. I'll figure out 2 and 3 and all that. I'm happy with him as my one, which is one of the hardest things to get in football. Quarterback, we know, left tackle, but boy, can you get that, the edge rusher, can you have that number one corner? So valuable.
Yeah, and he's shown the ability to be that number one guy. And when you're in a division where you've seen Jamar Chase and T. Higgins twice, you better make sure you got somebody who can cover.
That's right.
With their extensions, they're not going anywhere anytime soon. So I really hope he gets paid. And, great point about cleaning up his style of play, because he was known to be a bit handsy. Mm-hmm. He got better this season. He was a competitor. He competed, man, and he played the game the right way. And he's deserving of seeing that new deal. And if you're Pittsburgh, he is your CB1.
Can I ask you one more question?
Yep.
I want to ask you about a rule. Mm-hmm. So it's a rule that I'm not in favor of. It is the defenseless receiver rule for defensive backs. I'm all in favor of not targeting the head, right? So I understand all those rules. Let's try to keep players as safe as possible, right? But when we what has he got? Has he got the numbers right there?
We got the numbers right here. 1 more interception for Peasy Jr.
Okay.
4 more PBUs, 1 more sack, and then, as you mentioned, all the coverage numbers of less touchdowns allowed, less yards allowed.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you, Gonzo
it's
deserving got the praise.
Yeah. Oh, he's great. Yeah.
But Joey's not getting the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, what are we talking about?
He'll start to.
He better.
Yeah, he'll start to.
So let it be known.
So I'm all for player safety.
Yep.
All for not targeting the head. I think that the defenseless player thing, you talk about the toughness of the game. Does that reduce a little bit of that toughness if a receiver knows he can go over the middle and not get walloped because the quarterback put him in a bad position with a throw up high? My feeling on that is this. If you don't want to have a defenseless receiver, then don't throw him the ball there.
Yeah.
Does it take any of that toughness that like a Hines Ward, the part of his value was he was so tough. He was going to go over the middle fearlessly and make a catch that somebody else might do this on. Well, you don't have to do this anymore because they can't hit you out there.
And you know what? Great about toughness. But I think when receivers know they have that gray area where they're protected, you don't have to really be tough to go out and extend yourself because, you're not supposed to get hit. So now it kind of makes defenders a bit hesitant. You know what I mean? Because there's a gray area where you don't want to get that penalty, and with that personal foul comes a fine. Mm-hmm. And those 15 yards could actually change the momentum of a game dramatically. We've seen penalties flip games where teams lose because of the penalty. And also, too, for us, it's a thin line in being hesitant or playing fast to create separation from the man in the ball. Like when I was at Florida State, my defensive coordinator used to tell us all the time, it's your job to separate the man from the ball.
Right.
When he's trying to catch it at the point of attack.
Right.
So if I see you come across the middle and I know if I hit you as soon as the ball get there, there's a potential chance of a flag because you were defenseless. But if I wait and let you catch the ball, I cannot create an incompletion.
Yeah, that's right.
I can't.
Right.
That's a first down.
Yep.
You're in extended downs now. But if I can hit you simultaneously when you get there, I create an incompletion. Now it could be fourth down. You're punting the football. That could be the deciding factor in us winning or losing the ball game.
Yeah, like I said, I'm all for player safety. That's one of the violent parts of the game that I think you just have to live with as part of the game.
Yeah,
but it's been legislated out, and they want to keep guys healthy. And I understand that, and I'm for guys being healthy.
I understand that as well, but it's hard for us as defenders because you can't sit here and try to be hesitant when you're 6'3", running 4 threes and running as fast as you can.
And by the way, now that's put you in a bad position.
No question.
Now you've got to slow down, and you might get run over.
No question.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So when you do get a chance in a fair situation to put that helmet on them, do it.
Right.
Play like Seattle play.
Bryant, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Bryant McFadden
This was a lot of fun. Thank you.
has been our guest. Really enjoyed it.